Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is all about global demography. But first, we need to know what we're expecting in this topic. In this lesson, you are expected to discuss the relationship between population and economic welfare, identify the implications of aging and overpopulation, differentiate between contrasting proposition over reproductive health. Let's start our discussion with defining what is demography.
Demography comes from a Greek word demo, which means people, and graphy means measurement, meaning to say this demography is a statistical or a quantitative study of human population. Important terms in this lesson are human migration, fertility rate, mortality rate, and population aging. Migration. It involves the movement of people from one place to another place with intention of settling permanently or temporary at a new location. Fertility rate. This is the average number of children that will be born to a woman over her lifetime.
Mortality rate.
On the other hand, is the average number of death in a particular population. Population aging. This refers to the changes in the age composition of a population, such as there is an increase in the proportion of the older person.
Next, why do we need to study demography?
This topic, demography, is a mandated topic from the Commission Higher Education.
Aside from that, demography is the scientific study of human populations. It is important to understand the structure of population in order to plan health and public health interventions. Population structures can be represented as age pyramids. Population growth or decline depends upon fertility, mortality, and migration. So now, let's proceed to theories of population growth and decline. Malthusian theory.
Malthusianism is idea that population growth is potentially exponential while the growth of food and other resources is line is derived from the political and economics truth of reserve Thomas Robert Matthews is 1798 political writing on easy on the perception of population.
Thomas Malthus. Malthus argued that population was growing faster than the amount of these resources we could produce.
This suggests that at some point population would outgrow resources food. Catastrophes such as war, famine, or disease would then out of population which would return to balance again.
The demographic transition model. This model predicts that as a country develops, high birth rates and high death rates will fall. This model also predicts that countries will pass through periods of industrialization and urbanization on the way to reduce birth and death rates.
Implications of overpopulation. There is a good side and there is a bad side. The good news is there would a better economy. That is why people in rural areas hope to have more children in the first place. More kids would mean there would be more hands to help in the farm, or that there will be more professionals to help the parents later on in their life when they get old.
Efficient utilization of resources, especially in urban areas. The denser the population, the more concentrated it is in one particular area, and the more efficient the public transportation is, the lesser the carbon footprint.
medical, agricultural, and industrial growth. This is owing to the fact that there would be more brains added to our think, which would then contribute to more innovations in science and technology in medicine and all other areas. Better labor force.
Especially if we have a good working age population. And of course, there would be a greater investment in capital formation.
The perils of overpopulation, shortage of food and land. Many scientists believe that we have already exceeded the maximum carrying capacity of the earth, the food, and the agricultural organizations warns that in order to mitigate the impact of population growth, food production must increase by 70%. Annual cereal production must rise to 3 billion to add to the current 2.1 billion, and yearly meat production has to go up by 200 million to reach 420 million. Environmental problems. Take note that we are 7.9 billion here now on Earth, and the Earth has not gotten any bigger. We all need Earth's resources to have energy to warm our bodies, to warm our homes, to run our cars, and so on. Problem unemployment. There will be problem of unemployment, of course, and the problem on poverty and low standard of living. Poverty and low standard of living. There are millions of people around the world who are dying of hunger and diseases. Inflation, conflict, and war. There'd also be inflation and of course like malfunction way of thinking. Sooner or later when resources run out, there'll be conflict and war.
The reproductive rights. So, how about the women and reproductive rights? After hearing about perils and pros and cons of overpopulation, according to some of the scholars, the character in the middle of these debates is the women. Reproductive rights argue that if this population controls and economic development was to reach their goals, women must have control over they will have children or not. And when they will have children, if any government give to women this power, they will be able to pursue their vocation by their economic, social, political, and contribute to the economic growth correlation between fertility, family, and fortune or wealth has motivated the countries with growing economies to introduce or strengthen the reproductive health laws, including abortion. Women can spend most of the time pursuing either their higher education or their careers, instead of forcibly reducing their time to take care of their children. So, in 1960, for example, of reproductive rights, the Ghana and Bolivian government put into effect a family planning program that included the legalization of abortion. And in 2014, United Nations reported that proportion of countries allowing abortion to preserve the physical health of a woman. Now, let's see the feminist perspective. They believe that government assumptions that poverty is an environmental degradation are caused by overpopulation are wrong. Let's proceed to population growth and security. Today's population has reached 7.9 billion and it is estimated to increase to 9.5 billion in 2050, then 11.2 billion by 2100. 95% of this population growth will happen in developing countries. The opposite is happening in the developed countries where the population remains steady in general. After all that, here are some ways on how to mitigate the impact of population. First, invest agriculture. Second, craft long-term policies aimed at fighting poverty. Third, invest in research and development. Fourth, comprehensive social service program that includes food. And lastly, consistent delivery of health services and education. We are in the last topic of this lesson, but before that, let me tell you something. Demography again gives you the tools and analytical perspective to understand the world around you. It gives you the equipment to solve problems not only of your community, but also of the world in general. And it also gives us the means to intervene more wisely and effectively in the real world to improve not only your own well-being but also that of others. With that said, the study of demography is an essential area of focus when we look at the globalization as a whole. So in conclusion, we have a growing population and experts believe that we will reach. The Malthusian's way of thinking is a pessimistic way of thinking. It's also a rather realistic way. And if left unchecked, we are bound to endanger our own species through overpopulation. Being educated individuals and given all those data that just we presented to you, we hope that it will help you to make more well-informed decisions in the future. Let's look at the bigger picture and realize that what we do, no matter how small it is, having a large family, ironic as that may sound, actually affects the world in general. After all, we are all interconnected in this small world we live in. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening.